What's up, guys? This is Justin. I'm here with Elena, IGN's brand new tech editor, and we are taking a look at the Alienware Alpha. You can see we have it here in the middle of the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. And we kind of wanted to give people a super quick overview of how this new Alienware device stacks up to both consoles. And so how does that stack up to, there's hard drive options in here, right? Is the internal storage sort of similar between the two home consoles and the Alienware Alpha?
Yeah, so all of them right here have 500 gigabytes inside. The main difference is that you can replace the hard drive in both the Alienware Alpha and also the PlayStation 4.
Sure, and so this is replaceable. I guess we should point out, just in case someone is unaware, that this is a PC, intended primarily for gaming, although obviously, you'll be able to do sort of standard PC, anything that you can do with a PC, but this is originally intended to be a Steam box. Now they're sort of looking at it as their own sort of...
Right, and that's because SteamOS got pushed back to next year.
Right, exactly. So in terms of GPU or CPU, what are you kind of looking at here in terms of the power of this device to run sort of the newest, latest, greatest games?
Honestly, until we actually do the full review and can actually test performance, it's a little hard to say just because what they put in this box is different than what's in these boxes.
Right.
These two have custom chips that have combined like both the processing and the graphics together, whereas this one actually has separate ones and it's a different type.
And so it does have, on the low end, this has a Haswell i3, I believe, though, correct?
Correct.
And then what if you were to get the high-end model that was more than 500? What's the CPU look like?
So you can get variants of these in with the Core i5 chip as well as the Core i7 chip.
So it does sort of run the gamut between low, medium, and high.
And the price also changes with it as well.
Right on. And so what about the RAM in there? And I know it's not an apples-to-apples comparison between Xbox One and PS4, but if someone's curious, what's that look like?
Okay, so these two both have 8 gigabytes of RAM in them. This one, the base model, actually has 4, but that is also user upgradable all the way up to 16 gigabytes.
Right on.
If you want to go that high.
And so is there anything else people need to know? I mean, I'm assuming sort of the standard ports on the back, it has USB, Ethernet, anything sort of that we haven't covered off on in terms of the specs of the Alienware Alpha?
Pretty much very similar to these two. So it has Ethernet port, wireless, has USB ports, HDMI. The only main difference is that the PlayStation 4 doesn't have HDMI in, whereas both the Alienware Alpha and the Xbox One do. Right,
that totally makes sense. And I guess we covered off on the CPU, but we didn't talk about GPU specifically. What sort of graphics horsepower? And again, this isn't sort of a final verdict on this, but in terms of what GPU is in the box, powerful, not powerful, how does it sort of stack up to?
Sounds promising, honestly. The Alienware Alpha has what they call a discrete GPU, which means it's separate.
Right.
And it's actually based off of the GTX 860M. So it's a special version. Obviously, as you can see, this is a smaller box, so it's a custom version designed specifically for this unit.
Yep, right on. That's perfect. So we wanted to give people a quick comparison to how this Alienware Alpha stacks up to the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One if you're sort of looking for a new gaming device. But we're going to have much more on the Alienware Alpha soon. So make sure that you keep it locked to IGN.